Welcome to Collected Works, episode 2, where we're going to be talking about the music of Kate Bush. My co-host for today, my mom, Tammy Sedam. We're gonna be delving into Kate Bush's discography and picking a couple songs from each album to share with you, in case you want to kind of get into Kate Bush and you don't know where to start, or just in case you want to see what weird and wacky stuff we like.
Yeah, I tend to like the things that are a little less known and popular most of the time on most people's stuff. So,
Yeah. I wanted to do an episode of Kate Bush, an episode with you about Kate Bush, but also since today's Mother's Day.
is it? Oh,
Right, so kicking off the proceedings, let's start with Kate Bush's early career and her first album. You got anything, any information you want to share about Kate Bush's early life?
well, I don't know. I mean, most people have heard of Dave Gilmour and Pink Floyd, and the reason she got her recording contract in the first place was because she's lucky enough to have a brother who knows a guy who knows Dave
Oh,
Gilmour. Now, how many people?
so she's an industry plant, is what you're saying. Kate Bush has
and
always been an industry plant.
so Dave Gilmour got by way of those people, a tape of her demos and stuff. She was like, well, she was 16 at the time. And,
Yeah, because, like, they couldn't give her a recording contract when they wanted to, right?
well, they gave her one, but they said, well, don't want you to do anything for a couple of years. We want you to, go off and,
Figure yourself
yeah.
out and be of legal recording age or something.
And so she spent the next like 2 years taking vocal lessons and dance lessons and mime lessons from Lindsay Kemp, who was the guy who taught David Bowie mime. And so she had tons of songs because she'd been writing songs since she was like 11.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she was, I guess, 19 when her first album came out.
In 1978, that album was The Kick Inside. Came out with this cover in the UK. And when it was released in the US, what, they were like, no one's going to
Yeah,
recognize who
that's
this
too
brand new
weird.
artist
It's
is.
weird looking. You have
So
to do
they gave her the good old,
Johnny Amos,
they gave her the good old, Juice Newton
Girl in a
cover.
Box.
I mean, I don't even, you always refer to that. It doesn't, I don't
Because the
notice the
first
box.
Tori Amos album, and Tori
Yeah.
Amos was very Kate Bush influenced, and the first album she did, she was sitting in a box.
I know, but I'm saying, like, I don't recognize this as being in a box, even though,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well, if you see the other pictures from the shoot, it's probably
You know.
easier to tell, but
but
yeah,
I think
she's in a crate.
I like to call it the Juice Newton treatment. So these are the two potential covers that you could have gotten depending on what country you bought it in. I think, didn't Japan have a third cover?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. There were like 4 or 5. There was
Yeah.
one where she was going, and then there was another one where she was just wearing the pink tank top and
Oh yeah, that's
that
right.
may be the Japan one.
So what do we want to talk about with these albums? I'll
Well,
put the correct cover up front.
for one thing, she was introduced to America on Saturday Night Live, and it was December of 1978.
Yeah.
She's notorious for not liking to fly, but she flew over here. Eric Idle was the host and got to pick his own musical guest, and picked her. And she came over. She did 2 songs. So that was the first time I'd ever heard of her or saw her or anything. And the first song she did was "The Man with a Child in His Eyes," and the second song was I always them heavy people. I always want to call it "Rolling the Ball" because that's what your cousin Libby when she
Yes.
was little. Play "Rolling the Ball," Aunt Tam. And those 2 songs, and was like totally obsessed. I'm like, this is what I want to be. And and so
I'm hoping you have a picture that we can pop up as we talk about Lionheart to
oh,
show your
my hair.
I was gonna say your complete Kate Bush transformation. But yeah, we'll pop that up when we talk about Lionheart for sure.
But yeah, it was much more possible in those days. So my sister's then husband insisted that they just absolutely had to get me that album for Christmas, and I guess I had a hard time finding it. Although I did find the single, and I can't remember if it was Wuthering Heights or if it was Them Heavy People.
Well, hey,
Man with a Child in His Eyes did get to 85 on the U.S. charts. And so that may be the one I saw because it was like they had, the top 40 singles, and then they had some extras. And
because
that was
you were what, 16 when she was on SNL?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was almost 17.
So good on
It was quite an
him
influence.
for good on well I was saying good on him for suggesting they get you that album.
Yeah, but it was released here, so um, after that they kind of stopped releasing them because they didn't do very well.
Yeah. Of course, I know about Kate Bush because of you. Grew up with The Line, the Cross, and the Curve, and various other stuff. The whole story VHS with
Hmm.
all the videos on it, which is a common theme because I talked in the last episode about the your They Might Be
They were
Giants
giants.
VHS.
I had a lot of videos,
Apparently, and that's
and
also how I got into Talk Talk, which
yeah, I had that too. Yeah.
which I'll get into later. But on this album, what are your favorite tracks? What's your
Let's see.
top couple of picks, and then we'll round it out.
Probably um them heavy people. Like I said,
Hmm.
that I just and maybe the man with the child size. I think maybe it's my those are my two favorites.
Okay. I'm gonna go with my favorite is "Ode to Be in Love," which is I know a weird choice, but I love songs like I picked "Never Knew Love" with They Might Be Giants on my last episode, because it's kind of like about the nebulous feeling of love, and I like that about "Ode to Be in Love." She's like, it's how wonderful that we happen to be fated to meet at this time in this place because we could have led completely different lives. And I like that about that song. So I'm gonna pick "Oh to Be in Love." What's your absolute top pick on this album?
Probably them heavy people. I really like that, and I maybe because we played it so much at the time when Liv was little, but
Well, let's go ahead and hear those two songs, "Them Heavy People" and "Oh to Be in Love," Collected Works.